listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies, and today my guests are co-writer director Nathan Sutton and co-writer and lead actress Elisha Renee Sutton and another lead actor Nelson Lee. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. And we're going to be talking about this new movie called New Year, which is really a fascinating film, very fascinating movie. So Elisha and Nathan, since you co-wrote this, why don't you talk a little bit about what the film's about and how this movie came about?
Well, it started on a cocktail napkin in a bar about 6 years ago.
We've heard that story before.
Yeah, that's how all the great scripts start.
You always start on that cocktail napkin.
That's all we use for the script too. We just passed out cocktail napkin.
That's right. And then if they have a drink, then they could just, put their drink on the cocktail napkin.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just Elisha and I and another friend, and we came up with an idea for something we could make with our friend group. And 6 years later, we were able to manifest it on screen for all of eternity.
Amazing. Amazing. Just the 6 short years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way a film works. I mean, it's like and it's better for the film that way too, because if we would have shot the first draft, it would have been a pile of garbage and we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. It takes quite a bit of time for these things to mold themselves into something worth doing for everybody, even the audience, to spend time watching it. And part of that was Nelson was involved from the beginning, as he's part of our friend group. Or maybe I guess we're probably more part of your friend group.
Well, we wanted to, originally we just wanted to write something, because we're all artists and we all have these, special talents. Some of us are cinematographers, some of us are, actors and writers. We just wanted to come together and to make a project that we could all be proud of. And so that's how it started. So we were trying to think of like what we could do together, what kind of movie we'd want to make. And that's pretty much what we went off of. We just thought of our friends and what characters we wanted to see them play. And then we just got to writing. And writing is fun. It's difficult. It takes time to put it together. And then you've got to step back and take a break and have life and experience, and then come back to the script and see how it changed and how you've changed. And we had multiple table readings and sort of honed each character and refined things. And it's the process,
It helps to have talented friends too.
For sure.
Well, I think it sounds like it's a maturing process too. It's it's like exactly where your life has moved and traveled in those 6 years, and helps change and shift the richness of this movie. Actually,
Yeah, and specifically with a story like this, because we didn't want to pin it down to any time, place. Yes, because it all takes place in Los Angeles with very specific Los Angeles characters, but we didn't want to be pinned down to any time. And the more time we can add to the screenwriting process, the better the story becomes. But then at some point, we're like, we got to make this thing. Enough's enough.
Yeah, you can put too many ingredients in the soup after a while, and
Yeah.
it takes away the flavor.
Exactly.
So listen, Elisha, tell us, why don't you, so our audience knows what New Year's about, why don't you give us a brief synopsis of what this is
Well,
about?
New Year is about it's hard to describe it without giving too much away, but it's about a group of friends all getting together on New Year's, and the main couple is leaving the next day to New York, and so they're having sort of their last party, their last hurrah with their closest friends. And all those little secrets and things that you don't exactly tell each other as friends, but they kind of come out through the night, and a little chaos ensues. And I will leave it at that. I want to leave it a mystery a bit,
Oh, there's a lot of mystery in this movie. I love. There's so many things I loved about the movie. The look and feel of this film is timeless. It's definitely timeless. And I love the fact that you decided to shoot it in black and white. And I want to talk more about that and why you chose to do that, but also the music. The music is just don't see the whole movie, but right from the very beginning, it just sets the tone and the mood of this film. So let's talk, Nathan, why you decided to do it in black and white, and how the score came about with Graham Reynolds. What a great score, actually. So tell us a little bit about that.
Graham made it magical. Black and white was always non-negotiable for me, partly because I just love old movies and old cinema, but I think it's what this movie needed. And there's a Mike Nichols quote where he says that black and white does most of the work for you already, because I'm butchering his quote, but basically black and white makes it so that it's a metaphor. It shows that the characters aren't real, and you know that going into it, that these are representations of people, not actual people. And so I felt that was important with this group of characters, because they're all sort of archetypes of the entertainment industry. We have an agent and a writer and an actor and a photographer. And so the black and white does a little bit of work for you, and I think it also just draws in a different type of audience. So, you know, you're not going to stumble into New Year thinking you're going to see a Marvel movie, basically.
Yes.
And Graham was a friend of a friend through our producer, and we feel so blessed that he came on board, because I don't know how he did what he did, but he captured the movie in a way that I had heard in my head, but could not express in any possible way. And when he delivered the final score, I mean, really, he only delivered one score, and I was like, this is perfect. Don't change a thing. You know, Elisha can vouch for it, but I was in tears the second I heard it, because I just don't know how he does what he does. But we've never met in person. He only had the screening, a copy of the movie, and I sent him a handful of notes, and he came back a couple weeks later with this just unbelievable score. It's perfect.
Oh, it is. It truly is, and I hope you are putting it out there so people can purchase it, because I would just love to listen to it. So
I think he's planning on doing that on our release day on 12/15. Yeah.
great. Wonderful. So Nelson, go ahead.
No, you can find Graham on Spotify. He releases all of his soundtracks on there, and he's just one of a kind.
Graham Nelson on Spotify, everybody. You definitely want to check this out, because it is an amazing score. Nelson, how did you get attracted to this project?
I've been friends with these two for over a decade, and so when they first this project kind of was ruminating in their minds, and they had written it down on the cocktail napkin, we did a lot of table reads, and I was a part of it with them, and just kind of, it's the great thing about the group of people that we have. We're all creative, and we all love working together, and that's the great thing. They brought us together, and we just pitched in and helped doing table reads and development, and 6 years later, we find ourselves in this beautiful house shooting this film. So it was a wonderful thing to be a part of, especially seeing something from the beginning and then finishing at the end together. It's a rare thing.
Yeah, Nelson always, when I said we were thinking about something to make with our friends, Nelson was probably the first person that we wanted to make something with. I mean, he's so talented, and he's sort of blowing up right now. Not sort of, but he is blowing up right now, doing tons of amazing movies and things. And thank God we got to make some beautiful art with him before he takes off and we can't afford it anymore.
Just like his character in the film.
Exactly.
Except let's hope it doesn't. We won't give anything away. Anyhow, so what else are you doing, Nelson? Now that Elisha has let the cat out of the bag, what things can you talk about with some of your upcoming projects?
But I'm just still working on the CW show Stargirl, and have a couple of things coming up in the new year. But just slugging away as always.
Good. So what was it like writing together? Have you written anything together before, Elisha?
Yes, Nathan and I have written many projects together, and we have a very, I think, solid writing style together, because we both have the same sort of aesthetic and sort of vision, but then we approach things differently. I always say that Nathan is sort of like the cupcake, and then I come in with the toppings, the sprinkles and all the deliciousness. Not that what you do is not
I'm just the
delicious.
fatty flour.
But also, you know, that we're married, and, you know, writing can be tough because when you're with a writing partner, you can just not agree on certain things. And, you know, we're married by contract and by our children. And so we have to work it out. If he writes something that I don't like, or I write something he doesn't like, we just have to be brutally honest and share that with each other. And then, you know, maybe it turns into an argument or a fight, but we have to make up. We live in the same house, and we'll get through it and figure out how to tackle it and make it better and make it work for both of us. And also coming from the male and female perspective, you know, I think that is really important for each character, because that was something that we talked about with this film, is like, you could be any race, any, you know, gender for any of the roles in our script, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, Coppola has a quote where he says the hardest part about making a movie is making sure everybody's making the same movie. And that starts with the writing, especially if you're going to have a writing partner. And we have both, I would say, struggled with other writing partners when we were younger. And once we gave it a shot together, it was sort of just clicks, because like she said, we have the same taste, the same aesthetic, and that therefore we're making the same movie, which is really difficult to do the more ingredients you start to add.
Exactly. I just interviewed Eleanor Coppola right before you.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's
Cool.
quite an honor. Yeah. So just, you know, now that you brought Coppola up. So what was it like? Was this the first time you've directed your wife? And what is that process like for the two of you? And you can both answer that question.
No, I mean, we start the directing process every morning.
I mean, we direct.
Get up, make my coffee, get the kids. I just supervise.
We all know that's not. I'm the mom. I tell him, go get this, go get that, change the diaper.
No, this is our second film. Autumn Wonder was our first film, and we both acted in that, and so I had to direct her through that. It's not difficult because we know each other. You know, we're both actors, and so we're running our auditions at home together all the time, and we know each other's abilities and our limitations, and it gives us a shorthand to be able to communicate. I think the more difficult part is just keeping the boundaries on set in a way that, you know, is comfortable for everybody. Because, you know, you want to go hug your wife, but it's like, you can't do that anymore. You'll get fired.
No, I mean, it's just, you know, it's a gift to make a movie and to have the support of everyone there. I mean, it's just, and for some reason on this movie, it was just magical. Like, everybody was there to do their part and to make it the best movie they could make it, from wardrobe to the makeup people to all the actors to our crew and our amazing executive producer, John Picardo and Derek. It was just beautiful. And then to get to watch my husband sort of steer the ship, and you know, it's at home, it's one dynamic, and on set, it's just, I don't know, it's really just a great experience to see him sort of shine in the thing that he loves to do, and watch him do it so beautifully and gracefully, and make everybody comfortable. And he really sets the tone. Like, I think one day he came and he read, before we started shooting, he read something, I don't know if it was a poem or something he read in a book, but he just set the tone to make it super comfortable and just a team effort, you know. And I think that starts with him as the director, and I think anyone part of the movie would say the same thing. It was just yeah, so it made me really proud, you know. And then we're back home, and I'm like, get to work, Betty.
Take out the trash.
Yeah, in a different way. But, you know, when you're on set, it's professional, and you realize, you know, oh my goodness, like this is like what we want to do with our lives. And it's just a different, you know, it's fun to step out after being parents and get to do something that is artistic and that we is our passion. So it's wonderful.
Spoken like a true loving wife. It's beautiful the way you said it. So
Thank you.
really, very much so that you can feel the love between the two of you, and that's lovely. Nelson, for you, what was the most challenging part of filming this, and how long was the shoot actually?
I mean, how long was the shoot? It was like 3 weeks, or
We had 15 days.
Right.
3 of them were rehearsal, because this is it was a choreography between the camera and the actors, and then we only had 12 days to shoot.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I mean,
intense.
but the great thing is Nate had done so much work beforehand. Like he had everything mapped out exactly, because there's a lot of, the beauty of some of the difficult camera moves, you don't really see it as the viewer, but we see it. Like we had the camera, our amazing DP Michael Loggridge had everything on remote heads, and because he needed to follow us but not take up room inside. So we're there in another room controlling things remotely. And so as an actor, though, it was actually very easy because of all the work that Nate had done beforehand, mapping it out. So we just had to go in, hit our marks. And the great thing too, working with your friends, is we all have a shorthand. We all already have a connection. The work is kind of done. And the great thing is it's an amazing thing as an actor to have that freedom to just go and have fun. I know that's what you're always supposed to do, but once you cut to the chase with this stuff, and you can get to the heart of things so much quicker.
It was a weird way to shoot it too, because we were just all sort of trapped in this house, and most of the crew was huddled up in one room, and it's just the actors and a camera on a dolly following them around. So it was like probably like being a big brother or something like that.
Yeah. Final scene in the film too, we're all, because it's these beautiful sweeping shots, and we're all just like lying out on the ground hiding.
Right, let's not give away the magic of the movie.
Oh, no,
Yeah, really. Let's talk about the house, because the house is a big part of this film too. So tell us about this house and how it came about, and how shooting there was, how that was the process of shooting there.
Yeah, it's again sort of the magic of independent cinema. I played on the same baseball team for about a decade here in LA, and one of the guys on my team had bought that house, and he was renting it out to some other productions, and I spoke to him about the idea of us doing ours there. And we had a very limited window between when they were remodeling the house to when they were going to move in, and we snuck our movie into that window. And it's just, you can see it on screen, but it's just this beautiful, timeless home that it can be found in some pockets of LA, which I think adds to what you were saying, but it adds to the black and white of the movie. If we try to put this in a modern home, it just doesn't get the same feeling that this house does, and it definitely becomes another character in the film.
It does, and for me, I didn't think those kinds of homes existed in LA, to be honest with you. For me, it was more, I'm from the East Coast originally. I've lived all over the country, but East Coast, and it had an East Coast feel for me. So just that the house did, and the way you filmed it also, and it also did, obviously when I'm watching it, had the feel of a stage play. So let's talk about that too.
I think it's not accidental, but it certainly wasn't purposeful. We've been influenced by, we're all actors to start, so we've been influenced by the great American plays of the 1950s that sort of go into what we would study in acting class, and so as writers we're more attracted to what turns us on as actors, and so I think that's where the play element comes into it. And so it never was set out to be a play, but when you put us
after we made the movie, we watched it and we're like, this is the play. This needs to be a play. And we're hopeful.
Yeah, it's going to go backwards. Most plays get turned into movies. We want to go the opposite.
Exactly. So there are plans for you to perhaps make this into a play?
Yeah, we're just waiting for Bill Broadway to call us and let us know we're ready to go.
Well, good. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. It really should be. I've said this a million times on the show. I studied acting in New York a million years ago, and lived in New Jersey. So I used to go to the theater all the time. I was in North New Jersey, and then I lived in New York for a period of time. So theater is very near and dear to my heart. And seeing this film, I went, oh, this is a play, and I went to look to see if it had been a play first, and it had not. So I was surprised.
Yeah, it has a Virginia Woolf feel to it.
Yes, exactly, 100%. That's what came to mind when I was watching it. That's exactly what
Nathan and I hadn't seen Virginia Woolf, and Nathan had told me, many times about how he wanted to shoot the movie. And then we found ourselves one day, happened to be watching, so we have a Criterion collection, and we happened to be, or was it Turner Classic? We have both of those. It was one of them. And
Tomato.
yeah, we happened to be watching, it was on, and we were like, oh my God, I've never seen this. And I've never seen this either. We watched it, and Nathan was like, this is how I want to shoot the movie. This is crazy. And it was everything that was already, in his head. So it's
You had
definitely-
not seen it before?
No.
No, not before we started, not before we had an idea of what we wanted to do with the movie.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That really is amazing because, as I said, that was the first thing that came when I was watching. I said, "Oh, this definitely reminds me of Who's Afraid of
And then I just studied it intensely and decided to rip off Mike Nichols every possible.
There you go. You were quoting him earlier.
I mean, there's a line in the movie where we say that who did the play? It was Nichols. That's our little nod to him. And we also have a picture of Liz Taylor in the movie too, sort of hiding back there too. So there's a couple little
there's a
homages
couple
to
little-
Virginia Woolf.
Yes.
What do they call that when you do things like that? There's a name
Just
for that.
Homage.
Huh?
An homage or
An
thievery.
homage. There was an homage, but there's some other when they put little things like that in a film. I thought there was another name.
Oh,
for it, yeah.
the Easter egg.
Easter eggs. There's the word I was looking for. Easter eggs. Yeah. So Nathan, okay, you knew them, and you knew Nathan and Elisha, and you were part of the table reads in the early process of developing this. How for you was how did it evolve and change for you over the 6 years of this process?
Is that for Nelson?
For me or
Nelson, I'm sorry, Nelson. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I said
yeah, it's
Nelson.
all
I'm not Nelson. I
All
apologize.
the time, I say Nelson.
I get it.
I'm good. I don't feel bad.
No. I mean, I guess, just as people, we grow over 6 years and things change, and there's things that change in all of our lives within those 6 years. So it just enriches the character. So, when we started out, there's a lot of things that hadn't happened yet. So by the time we were shooting it, I was a completely different, not completely, but quite different. Our careers were different, our lives were different, our families had changed. Like all those things add those dynamics. So when we're speaking, there's a great scene that I love that I'm doing with my great friend Neil Jackson, and we're speaking about things that are very, very actually true and close to real life, and that's what made that scene so powerful and just lovely to do. It's I know you can say it's cheating, like, oh, we're just doing the same. No, it's too close to you, but I think all acting should be like that. It should be very, very close, and you find the things that are you, and to have 6 years to imbue into a character, that's a great thing.
But they also, we knew who the key cast members that we wanted to have with us, and they stuck with it through all the table reads, and they helped massage the script to get it to be what it was today.
Yeah, they gave their ideas, and
it wouldn't be what it is without them telling us this sucks and you need to change this. This part's great. Let's keep this in, and it helps just bring the whole thing to life.
100%.
Well, let's talk about the cast, because it is a great cast, and obviously, the whole thing, as you say, it wouldn't work without the chemistry between each of the actors in this. Timothy Murphy, who may not be a common Timothy B. Murphy, may not be a common name, but as soon as I saw him, I know I've seen him in many.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's that actor. He's like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. He's really good. I love him. He's a great actor too. I thought he's wonderful.
He was great, and I think this is a very different role for him. He's usually playing the villain right off the bat. You know where he is, and he's carrying a gun, and this was just different for him to sort of step into. I mean, if you know Tim, he shows up to set every day in a pair of jeans, boots, and a motorcycle, and that's just the dead opposite of who this character was. So it was fun for me to get to know him while doing the movie and seeing how drastically different he was than the character we got on the page.
Yeah, he's also just very, very likable and very charming. And I mean, I really, really enjoyed doing the one-on-one scenes we had together, because he's just fun and he plays, and he's an actor's actor. He'll play, sort of these acting games with me off, when we're not, when we're rehearsing and stuff, and it's fun. He was really, really fun to work with.
It's a tough character to cast. Our casting director, we had a lot of talks about who we were going to be able to put in this role, and that character, he's the ringleader. And if you don't believe that everyone will fall in love with this guy because of his charm and his creativity, the rest of the movie falls apart, because it's just about, he has to have this this magnetic presence to him that draws everybody else in, which
He definitely has
sets
that.
up the rest of the film. But without that element, nothing else clicks. And so it was a very, very difficult role to cast.
He does a great job with it. Okay, our time is up. Where can people watch New Year?
We open in New York and LA on December 15th. I just found out this morning we're hitting a bunch of other cities starting the first and second week in January, and then in early 2022 we'll be on VOD, but we don't have those details quite yet.
Great. Well, everybody seek out New Year. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating film. So thank
It'll be
you
the
all
new-
for being. Go ahead.
The New Year tradition movie.
Yes. We're running your show on New Year's, by the way.
Great.
Because of that. So, well, thank you all for being on the show. It's a pleasure, and I wish you much success with New Year. And I look forward to having you back on the show with your next movie, always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. If you have missed any of the Jan Price shows all about movies, you can go to my website, thejanpriceshow.com, or listen wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, the iHeart Podcast Network, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at thejanpriceshow.com. Thank you all for listening.